Week 15 in the National Football League featuring World of Matchups, NFL handicapping podcast coming to you guys live and direct from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Dexter Reed. On the other side of the glass, my A1 from day one and producer of WOM. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Spencer the Wiz. Good morning, sir. Welcome to week
Yeah,
15.
it's crazy. It's really coming down to the end.
My
Games are
goodness.
more important, even for the. I talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Like even that first overall pick, that's such like grace. That's like the best thing about the NFL because these terrible games like the Jets and Jaguars, like they're riveting. Like you got to see what happens in those games.
Yeah.
And plus, everyone tries. I think that's also a huge part of it. Like if you watch the NBA, they're like they give up. There are like times where you're watching the product and those players are giving up. All of these guys are fighting for a job. It's so
Mm-hmm.
cutthroat in the NFL. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, if you're on that field, like that might be your last chance for the season, like depending on the guy. So
Ever.
football is the best sport in the world, man. It is the best sport in the world.
It's not even close. It's the best product that you can put on the field. It's just a shame that it's so crooked, but I think that's part of the allure of why we love it. To the
It's almost like wrestling.
it's
You-
it really it's like WWE personified. To the slate, set it off.
yeah, so this is an interesting game because it's the Cowboys going to Carolina. The Panthers are favored in this game. I mean, what if I told you, at the beginning of the season that Bryce Young would be favored in a game, like like even just that alone, you tell me I'm crazy. There was a time this year. I mean, I was kind of in that too, where we were all in the impression that his career was over, right? Like it was going to be a Trey Lance type of situation. Like it felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give so much credit to Bryce Young. Everything was working against him. Everyone told him he was the biggest bust ever. He had some of the worst games. I mean, there are times when he threw for like 20 yards and a half. And now, like you are seeing, it's insane. Like it's really crazy. I feel like it's one of the most underrated stories, like of the season. Like this is one of the most like interesting stories I think in NFL in a really long time. I mean, this guy is like legitimately balling out. Like he's not just being like, okay, he's playing pretty decent. He's putting on like a spectacular show almost. His ability to avoid like sacks, it reminds me of like Russell Wilson. Like he doesn't run, but you remember like Russell Wilson, like at his peak, dude, he could get out of any sack ever,
Mm-hmm.
like Houdini. And it just reminds me of that. But I actually, it's crazy. I guess you have to take Carolina here. It's so tempting, and I feel like I'm going to regret it. But
Mm-hmm.
if Dallas was at home, I would feel different about this game. But the fact that it's Carolina, they're actually getting a little bit healthier too. So, but it feels like a trap game a little bit because it's like, man, Bryce Young is favored in a football game, but I'll take it. I feel like they've had a nice little momentum going here, and they've been playing some tougher competition. Play like the Chiefs and stuff. Who's to say they can't win a game against a terrible Cowboys team?
Panthers are playing a lot better, man, and I do agree. That is a very underrated storyline about Bryce Young's resurgence of his career. You got to credit guys like Adam Thielen, who have really helped, keep him off life support. He owes that guy a steak dinner or two for sure. Dave Canales has really done a good job the second half of this season, putting Bryce Young in positions to excel here. And Chuba Hubbard has helped a lot. They're not as bad as you think they are anymore, and the future is bright. Davion Sanders, Jalen Coker, they have good players, man, and they're going to draft some more good players, and they're going to work on that defense. They're okay, man. J.C. Horn's a solid defender. I mean, that guy's got a job. You know what I mean? That guy's got a job. All that being said, I'm going to take the boys with the points. The boys look absolutely horrendous on Monday Night Football versus Cincinnati. I mean, Cooper Rush is just horrendous. I don't know what it's going to take to see Trey Lance get on the field. I mean, Jerry Jones might have to die to see Trey Lance get on the field. But I think when you have Carolina's 32nd ranked rush defense on the field, I think Rico Dowdle, who's also been an underrated superstar in the making, he's going to be a good running back in this league, man. If he just needs this chance to just not be challenged by anybody else and take the ball and go. I think he's going to have a big day tomorrow. And, CeeDee Lamb's still on the field. Jake Ferguson's still on the field. You just need Cooper Rush not to blow this. I mean, the Dallas defense is still very good. Micah Parsons is still very good. I mean, to be laying 3, I don't think the Panthers are that good yet. And so I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to take them with a lot of confidence. If I'm really trying to make some money, I'm going Dallas money line. I think this is a game that Dallas can win simply on their defense alone. I don't believe that these rookie players, Jatavion Sanders, Jalen Coker, I mean, I don't think they're going to make all the difference enough. And if anything happens to Adam Thielen, then what? You know what I mean? I think the Dallas Cowboys can control the field. They can control clock, and I think they're going to win this game outright, personally. But you're giving me 3 points to top it all off. Stop it. Give me them points and let's go.
Let's go to Cleveland. This is actually a bizarre line to me. I know the Chiefs have not had the world's greatest season here, but I mean, it's 4 points against literally one of the worst teams in the NFL. And Jameis Winston is like a pick magnet. He's playing against the number 1 defense. This is my best bet of the week. I think this has gone out of control. The idea that the Chiefs can't win the game, and I know they've been playing down to their competition a whole bunch this year, so that's like obviously where this line comes from. You would have to color me insane, though, to take +4 for the Browns against the team with the best record in the NFL. That's kind of just ridiculous. I think the Chiefs can definitely win this by more than a field goal. I think Jameis Winston's going to like ruin that line for him, like by himself. Like maybe it'll be a touchdown game and he'll throw a pick 6. Like you could literally see it happening.
Wow. I this is a tough game to call, especially as a Kansas City Chief fan, and it breaks my heart to do it. But I'm going to take the Browns plus 4.5, and I'm going to give you legitimate reasons why I am doing this. Okay, nobody watches more Kansas City Chief football than me, so there's that. She's got a real left tackle problem. It's a real issue. Okay, they are hemorrhaging blood at left tackle, which is the side that you need them to be solid on. And who plays that side? One of the greatest defenders in the National Football League for the Cleveland Browns versus Wanye Morris. He's going to be going up against an absolute behemoth of a man. That is a problem. Cornerback 2 is a real problem for the Kansas City Chiefs. Ever since L'Jarius Sneed left, they haven't been the same team. And it is putting a lot of pressure all over the secondary. I mean, Brian Cook's good. Justin Reed is good. You know what I mean? Trent McDuffie is really, really good. But you could tell Trent McDuffie misses L'Jarius Sneed. And every person that they've tried to run out there, Najee Johnson, I mean, it just hasn't worked. Losing Justin Watson really killed Kansas City's secondary. And you can throw all over them. When Aiden O'Connell is throwing almost 400 yards on you, you have a serious problem. And what does Jameis Winston like to do, guys? Oh, yeah, he likes to force the ball. Now, David Njoku may play. It's more like doubtful to play, but it wouldn't surprise me if he pulls a Lazarus and suits up. This game is in the dog pound. Dude, 4.5 points to a team that hasn't covered in a month and a half. I'm taking Cleveland, man. And honestly, I'm taking them with confidence. It's one of my better. It's one of my better bets this week. I watch Kansas City all year, man. The team doesn't cover versus anyone. Their biggest point differential versus any team this year has been 11 points. They haven't beaten anybody by 2 touchdowns all season long. The things that Cleveland likes to do are the things that the Kansas City Chiefs are bad at. That they're bad right now in the secondary. Jameis Wilson's going to throw the ball 500 times. It wouldn't surprise me if Jameis Winston threw for over 300 yards this game. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me if Myles Garrett had 3 sacks in this game. It would not surprise me at all. Guys, the Kansas City Chiefs at 12-1 are as vulnerable as they have been since they won their first Super Bowl. And don't let the record fool you. The Chiefs could easily be 8-5. Easily. And I'm not saying they're not Super Bowl contenders. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is not a football god, But styles make fights. This is not the situation that you think it is. And I even told everybody early on in the season, Spencer will tell you this, that when I was looking at the schedule, one of the games that I thought Kansas City would lose was going to Cleveland this Sunday. Do I think they'll win the game at the gun? Yes. Do I think it'll be a 3-point win? Yes. But you're going to give me an extra 1.5. I'm taking the team that throws the ball all over the yard, that this is going to be their Super Bowl versus Kansas City. They're going to come to play hard. The dog pound is very live. It's a live stadium. Give me the Browns plus 4.5. And guys, I'm taking them with confidence against Kansas City. Until Kansas City blows somebody out, until my team blows somebody out, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Super Bowl is just a sure thing. And I'm not going to act like they can just flip another light switch like they did last year. Dude, last year was something to behold. It was a special year. If I see the Chiefs do this twice, man, just cancel the NFL. It's very, very difficult to do, guys. And these games that they have to play are not going to be easy wins. They're just not. Look how Cleveland played Denver on Monday Night Football. They were in that game. Jameis Winston's got a live arm, man. This game worries me for Kansas City. I'm taking a 4.5 with confidence.
All right, jumping over to the Dolphins-Texans game. And I'm just going to go with my gut here, like right off the bat. I'm getting a field goal for the Miami Dolphins, who have been very good since Tua has come back. No mistake about it. They do have some injury problems, so it's like almost kind of hard to call this game now. But everyone seems to be good to go from what I saw. And if that's the case, I think Miami can win this game outright. I mean, I definitely taking them on a teaser, like 9 points. What have the Texans really done to like make you believe that they can, take out this kind of, I would at least say, red hot offense? Like, obviously, they're starting to piece that part back together. Tyreek Hill's starting to find his rhythm for sure, and I feel like that trend only goes upwards. So we'll see. I mean, I know it's like the Texans are such a solid team, but it's like, the Dolphins really need this one. If they think they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs, this is a playoff game for them. So I think if you get that little extra motivation in there, like, yeah, give me the Dolphins. I mean, weather's not going to be a problem in this game, I don't think. Yeah, I really like this one, actually. And I'm getting a field goal. Like, that's what gives me the most amount of confidence. Give me Miami.
I'm taking Miami too, and I'm throwing this on a teaser ticket. The Houston Texans have not looked good to me at all, really, at any point this season. This is a true sophomore slump to me. This is a team that I was supposed to be really worried about coming into this season as a team that could actually go out of their way and try to take down the Kansas City Chiefs simply because they got CJ Stroud on a rookie deal, and they have looked average all season long. In comes Miami, who is actually playing really well right now. They got a really outside shot of making a loss, but they're going to go down fighting with this offense. Tua's looked good coming back from his concussions. Tyreek Hill has been very mid, but he's starting to come on now. Jalen Waddle's always good. And the X factor for them, outside of their run game with Arshawn, Jonnu Smith has been like raised from the dead, man. Jonnu Smith was a nobody coming into this year. He wasn't on anyone's radar of being a top tight end in this league, and he is going berserk, man. He's having game-winning touchdowns. He's opening all parts of the field. He looks like the Black Travis Kelce this year, and I think it's going to make a difference. Conversely, Houston's defense has just been okay. Joe Mixon, you take Joe Mixon off this team, they've been like a 4 or 5 win team. They have not looked good. CJ Stroud has not looked good. Losing Stephon Diggs really hurt this team. Tank Dell has been a ghost. And if you could just keep a body or even double, I would double Nico Collins, and I would dare them to beat me somewhere else. Dalton Schultz is very average. I know they're home. I don't think it really matters, man, because if you're going to get into a track meet with the Miami Dolphins, they're going to outscore you 9 out of 10 times indoors. And so I'm taking the Fins plus the 3, and I'm taking them with confidence. Low key, Mike McDaniel's probably coaching for his job quietly. He hasn't been good. You know what I mean? For all the pomp, circumstance, and hype that's surrounding South Beach and what they've been trying to do, They haven't won any games in cold weather. It's the same old Dolphins. They need to beat a good team here. And I love this is one of my favorite bets this week. I think Miami goes in, plays well enough, and I think they win this game. And I'm throwing them on a teaser, like I said earlier, because that's house money once you add points to this line. They are not getting blown out. The only way they get blown out in this game is if they turn the ball over. If Tua turns the ball over here, they'll be in trouble. But Devin Arshon is really, really good. Hand the ball off, play action all day, every day. Up top a little bit here, there, left, right, and it's on. Take the Dolphins, take them with confidence.
All right, now we have the New York Jets going to Jacksonville. And again, what would normally be an absolute garbage snooze fest is actually one of the most important games of the year, ironically enough. Tons of 3-win teams. And when two face each other, that's big for draft implications. Oh gosh, this is awful. I'm going to take the Jets, I suppose. I mean, I think Mac Jones is terrible. I only need a field goal. The Jets are good enough to win this football game, for sure. I mean, they have played very poorly, but they're about to play a very poor team themselves. And I could see Mac Jones just having a little horrible game. I mean, his touchdown interception ratio is 2-5. That's abysmal. That's so bad. And I think the Jets defense is good enough. There's a lot of guys that are kind of due for big games because they've had a lot of like stinkers this year, man. Like guys who were supposed to be playing well are terrible. I talked about this before the season started. I'm like,
You
you know
did.
what? It's so likely that the Jets have a complete meltdown. You know, it's like I know they have the roster, but it's like it's the Jets, man. This is literally what they do, right? Like this is
Anything
what the
Aaron
organization
Rodgers
is.
touches goes to hell, bro.
That's
It's
so true.
true. It's so true.
I just can't bet Jacksonville right now. I mean, this isn't a game I don't think I'd put on a teaser just because it's two horrible teams, but there's just more talent and there's a little bit. It's just it definitely just comes down to talent, I guess, in this game for me. Like Devontae Adams is getting a little bit better each week, and I mean, that's just going to be something that gets better and better. Like, what is Mac Jones going to do in this game? Like probably nothing, So all the Jets have to do is a little bit of something. And I know they find ways to goof these games, but a field goal is just too short of a line.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The Jags have been my valuable soldiers. I told you week 13. We missed last week's show, but they covered versus the Texans on that 3.5. Dude, the Jags have covered versus great teams. They covered versus the Eagles. They covered versus the Packers. The only team that they didn't cover versus was the Lions. All these other playoff teams, they covered versus them all, man. But this is where I get off the train. And I hate doing it because I hate the Jets. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate it all. I hate it all. I hate getting green. I mean, I just can't. But at this point, what's the motivation to win in Jacksonville when you know you're literally staring a top 3 pick and maybe even a top pick?
Like
You
you're like that close to Travis Hunter, basically. I mean,
you
how
are
bad
about
would
to
you need
get
a
the
guy like
top pick.
that?
Why are you going to try to win this game? They're going to do everything they can not to win this game. All right, I think this is where the live tank actually goes. It goes viral. Maybe not last week, maybe not the week before, but this is it. And I think it's going to probably cost Doug. It might cost Doug Peterson his job, or it might save him his job. Who knows? Because Bill Belichick is now off the market. We'll see. Shad Khan might give him a walk here, and he may come back. But the Jets, simply like you said earlier, they're good enough to win this game. They are. I mean, if Brees Hall with a roast beef knee is going to still play this game, that means they're trying to win the game. That means they're trying to win the game, and they got weapons. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. I mean, none of these guys are scrubs. None. Aaron Rodgers has been playing. He's been playing hurt, but none of these guys are bums, dude. And the Jet defense is a good defense. They just have underperformed all year. This is a game that the Jets should win by 10 points. Honestly, if we're being honest, if the Jets can't beat the lowly Jaguars in South Beach with good elements, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, literally, I would just bench Aaron Rodgers. I would just release Aaron Rodgers if they lose this game. I would just release the guy. Like, you know what, man? We've had enough. You've cursed us, whatever, your ashwagandha and your what all that darkness retreat. We've had enough. You're done. I would just release him Daniel Jones style. I mean, what is it gonna hurt? You're already going to get a top pick. Just take whatever quarterback is there. I don't know. Shit, I'd sign Daniel Jones over Aaron Rodgers at this point. He's horrendous. But he's good enough to the tune of -3 versus the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars, who have absolutely zero to play for here. Take the Jets, kind of with confidence, and enjoy a steak and lobster dinner.
All right, we now have the Commanders going to New Orleans. This is a tough game to call. And I know that the Saints are normally so good at covering at home. So it's like they're telling you to. You're getting 7.5. You're staring at it. Jake Hayner, I just feel like it's just going to fall apart, man. It's just so disgusting in New Orleans.
It's so bad.
They're like, it's like they flip up a coin to see who's going to play quarterback for their team every week. And that's just a horrible place to be in. You got an interim head coach, another quarterback change. I mean, this is a recipe for absolute meltdown,
It's
and
a dumpster fire. It's
and
bad.
isn't it so funny that Derek Carr, it's like he brings an entire philosophy with him. It's like, is this not what the Raiders have been through for the past
10
5
years.
years? Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it. The guy plays just well enough to keep you out of good draft position. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's amazing, and he misses a game here and there. It's unbelievable how the Derek Carr experiment is just takes it. And like he just took that with him. I can't take the Saints here. I know there was a time that Washington Dallas game where I'm like, oh yeah, who is Washington blown out? But that's a division game, and it just had that feel to it, before. I think the Washington Commanders can go in here and just put up so many points that literally if they score 20 points, they're covering the spread. I don't see the Saints scoring 2 touchdowns. I think that would be really crazy. And I think that the Commanders are going to dominate the time of possession in this game. This is just a professional football game for the Washington Commanders. You go in there and you just execute, and you'll blow them out, right? Like you don't have to do anything spectacular in this game. Here's the game plan, stick to it, score 21, 24, 20 points. That's it. And you go home, right? That's what it feels like. And I feel like they can do that.
The Saints are so bad. The Saints might be the worst team in the National Football League right now. They literally might be.
They have like the worst situation like in the NFL. No cap
Situation,
space,
no
quarterback
money, you
mess.
got no quarterback, you have no head coach. I mean, you are like a steaming pile of gumbo. They're horrendous. They're literally the swamp team in the swamp. They're bad. Taysom Hill is out. Chris Olave is dead. I mean, how are they going to score points? Jake Hayner, this guy. Well, what? This guy looks like he wears makeup on Sundays. Like he's gonna be your quarterback, getting his very first start versus a team coming off a bye and who's rested. Indoors. Jaden Daniels has another week to get right on that rib, who's been bothering him a long, long, long time this season. I think that literally, like you said, if the Commanders go in there and just execute, they'll win this game by 2 touchdowns. I mean, what's the motivation to play hard in New Orleans right now? If you're
You're not even playing hard for your coach. He's not going to be there next year. It's going to be
if
someone
you're like
completely
Cam
different.
Jordan, like Kool-Aid McKinstry, like
You're talking to your agent about what you're doing next season,
like,
not
you're
on the
trying to
Saints.
force a way out at this point, and low key. One thing a lot of people are going to miss out on, but I took note of this, is that this is the Marshawn Lattimore revenge game. I think he finally gets on the field for Washington and goes to New Orleans and just takes half the field away, Revis Island style. Like he's pissed. You know what I mean? Like he gave up on that guy. He really gave him away for it. No, I mean it was a decent haul, but Marshawn Lattimore's good. He did a lot for the Saints. Let's put it like that. And so I think this is just a professional, workmanlike, grind them out type W for Washington, who is well rested. They should destroy this team, man. The New Orleans Saints are a dumpster fire. They're in worse shape than the Jets. Maybe the Giants too, man. The Giants have a coach. and a decent front office. Yeah, just talking about it makes me ill, dude. It's like Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. These quarterbacks, man, anything they touch is mid or less, or a dumpster fire. They gotta go, man. Take the Commanders minus the points. Take them with confidence.
The most absurd maybe line of the season here in this next game. The Baltimore Ravens go to New York. The
That's
Ravens are
ridiculous.
minus 16.5.
That's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I mean, is there a world where they cover this spread?
No.
100%. It's not impossible, but you'd have there's no shot. I am not taking a team getting 16.5 points in the National Football League. It's not, I mean, I know things are not good for the Giants right now, especially the quarterback position, but
16 and a half is 16
if
and a
they
half.
if they can't cover 16.5
Oh
points,
my
they need to
God.
they need to be dropped from the National Football League. They shouldn't be allowed to play. They should have to forfeit every game for the rest of the season
It's a
because
lot of points.
that's just terrible. Over two, you're getting nearly 2.5. If you're so scared, man, and you buy that extra half point, you're getting 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Oh man, yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. That's just too ridiculous. There's too many weird things that happen in the National Football League, and garbage time is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, dude, if they don't score in the first drive, the Ravens, and you're starting to sweat like already. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That set is so insane to me. Give me the Giants plus 16.5.
I'm taking the 16 and a half as well. Tommy Cutlets is out there again. It's just an absolute circus in New York. And literally, at this point, all they're trying to do is sell a couple tickets so they can break even, sell a couple beers, a couple hot dogs. I mean, it's going to be absolutely freezing in New York. No one's going to want to be out there. People are going to be going to this game to see Lamar Jackson. That's why people are going to go to this game. But 16 and a half is 16 and a half. I mean, this might be the biggest spread in the NFL this year. I think it might be.
It's
I think
gotta
it
be.
might be. I think it's got to be. And here's the deal, man. I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. And you can at least control the clock a little bit. I mean, Malik Neighbors is very good. I don't know, man. Like, who are the Baltimore Ravens to be giving 16 and a half to anyone? Seriously, to anybody. Will they eviscerate this team? They should. They should, but like, do they? Do they blow anyone out? I know they've had some scoring games. I think they blew out the Bengals. I just don't trust the Ravens, man. They're not as good as you guys think they are, and the reason is that number one ranked defense from last year has been absolutely blown up and it is gone. Patrick Queen is gone. The secondary is mid. Anything happens to Kyle Hamilton, and the Giants could win this game. I mean, like, I just don't get how you're laying 16.5 to anyone and acting like it's okay. It's not. So I'm taking the Giants plus the points, and I'm taking Tommy Cutlets, and I'm going to eat a chicken parm after I cover that spread because that is absolutely egregious.
All right, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going to Tennessee. This, I think, is kind of out of control. And I know the Bengals obviously haven't had a great season, but 5 points. I mean, they're going to score 30-something points in this game. The over is very enticing, actually. This would be a really great game. It's 46.5. You tease that down to 40 points. Dude, I mean, the Bengals, I think, are going to score 30 by themselves. And can they win this game by a touchdown? Yeah, I think they're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns in this game. This Tennessee team is like wild, and look, I know the Bengals defense is terrible, but I don't like the Titans that much, and I bet on them selectively throughout the season. Sometimes it's killed me, but they've covered some of these games. I took them, I said, hey, they could win this game against the Texans or cover this game. And they did, right? And they ended up winning that game. I just don't see that happening. I think the Bengals offense is just on another. It's the best offense in the NFL. If they had a top 15 defense, they'd probably be the number one seed in the AFC. I mean, think about all those close games they lost because they just can't stop anybody.
They have no
really
coaching
can't.
either. Their coaching is horrendous. I would
It's
fire their coach.
crazy.
The coach is so bad, dude.
Joe Burrow is going to end the season with like 5,000 yards and like
Yeah.
30 touchdowns. I mean, he's going to have an MVP season that he's never going to have a chance to win because they're not going to make the playoffs. But in this game, they are going to light up the Tennessee Titans like a Christmas tree. I do not have confidence that the Tennessee Titans can keep up to that level.
So here's the deal with this game, and this has been my most contentious pick all slate because I was thinking about putting some real money on this with my guy, and we were going back and forth with this. There's an 80% chance of rain in Tennessee tomorrow during the game, 80%, which means it's raining all game. And then it made me think about what happened to the San Francisco 49ers on Monday in the first half in the rain. Same thing with Matthew Stafford and the Rams in the rain. I have a funny feeling that this game is going to slow down big. I think the better bet for the game, honestly, is to just take the under. I mean, it's 46.5. I mean, what does the Cincinnati Bengals like to do, man? How do they score their points? Throw, throw, throw. Go out gently down the stream. I mean, that's what they do. They're going to throw the ball all over the field. And if it is raining at an 80% clip, that's going to really slow some things down and turn it into a track. Slow the track meet down and turn it into a running game, which I have seen the Titans play well, man, at spots. They've beaten decent teams in spots. Tony Pollard has been better than a lot of people thought he was going to be this year. I don't love Will Levis in this spot, but this is the Cincinnati defense we're talking about, man. They're absolutely horrendous. I mean, they are bottom 3 defense in the NFL. They're bad. And if it wasn't for Jesus falling out of the sky in Dallas on Monday, they would have lost that game too, man. Like, it's the most irrational way to get the ball back I've seen in a long time. So I have zero confidence in the Bengals. I know you like the -5. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, personally, in that kind of inclement weather. If it's the type of weather that I think it's going to be, for what I've seen on the Weather Channel and all the investigating that I've done, a wet ball is still a wet ball, guys. You know what I mean? Wet ball, still a wet ball. And I don't care how good you are. In the elements, things change. I mean, and you saw the minute it stopped raining, Puka Nakua all of a sudden started going crazy. Guys are going to get theirs, but I'm going to take those 5 points at home, too. Stop. Titans +5 is the play.
All right, jumping into the afternoon slate, it's the New England Patriots going to Arizona. Kind of a strange matchup. It feels like these teams have never played each other before. So kind of weird. It's like this feels like I have no idea how to feel about either of these teams. Cardinals are -6. They are at home. Yeah, that's a tough game, man, because the Cardinals are so just up and down. You really just don't know what you're going to get out of them at any point.
Nope.
Wow. This is the hardest game to call for me throughout the entire slate. Because I feel like I'm always on the Arizona Cardinals. I think I've taken them like literally like every week.
You take them a
I
lot,
love
man. You take them a lot.
because when they play at their best, they look so good. And then there's this other times that Kyler Murray just makes dumb decisions. Like that has been such a big narrative for him this season where you're just like, what are you doing? You know, I feel like I say that all the time when I'm watching him play. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the Patriots. I don't feel confident about this, but there's been too much tomfoolery for Kyler Murray to think like he throws a bad pick and then suddenly it's a 6-point game or something, or a 5.5 game. It's like I just feel like there's gonna be a half point in there somewhere where it's like, these guys just got the line exactly right. Look, they won by 5 points, It seems like a lot for some reason. When the Patriots play like decent, I suppose, like I just feel like they're going to keep it close enough. I feel like Kyler Murray's got one dumb interception in this game that's going to ruin the spread somehow.
He has had it all year. And can we have an honest conversation? Why does Kyler Murray not really like MHJ? Why is Marvin Harrison Jr. not having the year everybody thought he was having? And why is no one talking about it? I mean, I'm sure people are talking about it on the radio stations in Arizona. Arizona sports talk, they're probably like, what's happening? I mean, they were talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. being the next Randy Moss. Guys, he hasn't been Randy Moss's son. He's been very average. Very. Like, bordering on mid. And you are a top what pick? I don't know, man. I think on another team, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be an absolute stud, but there's something going on there. Him and Kyler Murray are not seeing eye to eye. I think having Trey McBride there has really hurt MHJ. I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals here, and I'm not going to take them with a whole lot of confidence at all. This is more, they just break the streak of being so bad, and we actually see a game where McBride, MHJ, and Kyler Murray are firing on the same trajectory. Because to this point, they really haven't. They've had some nice wins. They go into, San Francisco, steal a win. They go to Miami, steal a win. But at home, they have been not great, and it just seems like Kyler Murray just does dumb stuff. Stop doing dumb stuff, dude. Throw the ball away. Dude, take the sack. Take the sack. I will take the sack over throwing a pick any day of the week. And I just don't understand why coach is not in his ear about these. Stop trying to be something you're not and close your eyes and throw the ball over your head 15 yards downfield. And then when you open your eyes, the defender's in the end zone. Like, we have to stop this nonsense because they do have a decent team and they do play sound football. And I mean, James Conner got a contract for a reason. I mean, the pieces are there for them to blow this team out. They just have not done it all year long. I need to see a 2 touchdown game from Marvin Harrison Jr. here. I need to see James Conner with 100 yards rushing and 3 catches. And I need to see Kyler Murray with 300 yards passing. This is a bad Patriots team. They're bad. And Gerard Mayo's coaching for his job. Eviscerate this team in your building. And next week we'll say some nicer stuff about you guys. Next.
All right. Now we have the Indianapolis Colts going to Denver. This is a great game. This would be a really good Sunday night football game, in my opinion. I think it's a very interesting matchup. I'm gonna take the Colts, man. I Anthony Richardson is good, right? Like when he's playing at his best, and this is the best football he's ever played in his entire career, in my opinion, the last couple of weeks. Because for the first part of it, he was fighting for his career, right? There was a time when the report came out that they were benching him for the rest of the season, no matter what, which was insane, very stupid of them. But now that he's back, playing pretty good. I know they kind of went toe to toe with the Patriots, but the Patriots are just decent, man. They're like a lot of these 3-win teams are just like they're always in their games. They just don't have that closing ability. Maybe they don't have that closing talent, but the New England Patriots have like not been blown out constantly every week, right? There are a lot of 3-win teams that it's like that. It's not like that for them and a couple other teams around them, but I know the Denver Broncos have had some, good wins this year, but that seems like a lot. I feel like, first of all, the Colts could win this game. I don't think that the Denver Broncos should be like clear favorites so far as more than a field goal. I mean, I may just do a Colts money line bet and just put some money on there. I feel that confident. Like, I feel like that's so far off. You're telling me it's impossible, essentially, that they could win this game? Nah, I'm sorry. Like Anthony Richardson is getting a little bit better every week, and the Denver Broncos, it's not like there's like this shutdown defense. Like the people put points up on them. Uh, yeah, Anthony Richardson is due for like a really big game. Their offense is flowing. Jonathan Taylor is getting better and better every week. I mean, these guys who we thought would just click, they really didn't in the beginning of the year. But now we're seeing what the potential of this Colts offense could be. If Anthony Richardson can just get down some of those deep passes, man, sometimes he whiffs, but he's getting close. It's like, oh, he threw it over 5 yards in the beginning of the season. Now it's at the guy's fingertips. So it's like, man, he gets that next throw a little bit closer. That's like touchdown. Like they've had so many moments like that this year. I could see it clicking in this game. I feel like the Colts have a lot of momentum right now.
I'm going to take the Broncos -4.5, man. I like the Colts too, but the Colts struggled to beat the Patriots a couple of weeks ago. I know they did it, but something about the Colts, man, it just doesn't do it for me. They're such a vanilla, boring team. And the Broncos are having a resurgence. the Broncos are putting their stamp on helping make the AFC West the best division in football. And they're just growing by leaps and bounds every week. And Bo Nix is just continuing to show everybody that he deserved to be a first rounder. Bo Nix could be rookie of the year, man. It's not out of the conversation. And I just think Mile High with the Mile High, air, and I just think the outdoors versus this is a dome team. And yes, the Denver defense does have lapses of judgment where they put points up on you, but I think they're going to come to play really hard here. Anthony Richardson has gotten better, but I don't think he's that much better. Jonathan Taylor's been very mid again this year. He's just not been great. He's been good, but I mean, let's not forget the money that they paid Jonathan Taylor. Okay, Jonathan Taylor is getting paid a lot of money, and he's very, very average. And it kind of sucks because I have him on some teams. I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. But his first year, he went crazy, and this is why running backs don't get paid. And the ones that do, they just kind of fade into obscurity slowly. And so Michael Pittman's been an absolute unmitigated disaster. Alec Pierce is a 70-yard touchdown, or he's a 2-yard, minus 2-yard, catch in the backfield. I'm not in love with the culture doing here. I'm not. I do think the Broncos being minus 4.5 might be a little high, but I see like a forced fumble here. I see a strip sack. I see a defensive score here. I see the elements playing into this game. I've watched the Colts go outdoors late in seasons before and just get eviscerated, and I think it happens here again. The Broncos, they're not Super Bowl contenders, but they're getting close to making the playoffs and being a good team in this league. And for that reason and that reason only, I can't take the Colts plus the points, man. This is a 7-point Denver win in my estimation, and I'm going to take them with confidence.
All right, we now have the Buffalo Bills going to Detroit. How is this not the Sunday Night Football game, actually? Wow. That's like the best game of the year almost. Two teams that are they're just on fire. Seems like Detroit always gets these games at homes, by the way. I feel like Detroit's had a very favorable schedule this year at certain spots. Wow. You know what? I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills in this one. I'm not afraid. Took the Buffalo Bills in that Chiefs game. This Bills team looks like they're destined for the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. They have that special energy about them where it's like, hey, man, this guy's injured. So is this guy. Doesn't matter. Next man up. Never heard of this guy before. It's like, yeah, they can really put some points up. I feel like this is one of those games where the Lions are going to feel missing their guy. Like,
Aiden
I can
Hutchinson.
see, yeah, where they don't have that guy to get that sack at that perfect time. You know what I mean? That's not to say that the Lions aren't a very good football team still, obviously. I mean, they're on nuclear fire right now. Well, let's not discredit the Bills here. It looks like they're getting a lot healthier too, which is really important for them. Guys are going from out to now questionable, right? Dalton Kincaid might play in this game. When they have both their tight ends, man, it's a very dangerous team because Josh Allen is kind of like Superman. Obviously, it's going to be a close game, but I just think that the Lions are going to get put down a peg. They've played some real garbage teams at some points of this year. This is the biggest matchup they have had since the start of the season. I know those Packers games are big, but those are they have a different identity when you play those kinds of games. You know what I mean? Like those division games are just funky, man, because they know each other so much and they play each other every year. So this is a non-division huge matchup. I like the Buffalo Bills. I think they can win this game for sure.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this game a lot and ended up having to do a lot of recon on it, breaking stuff down. A lot of it you have mentioned to date. I don't think the Detroit Lions have been challenged by anybody. This is going to be a challenge for them. Okay, now I know that they're home. Okay. Okay, but let's be honest, man. They haven't looked fantastic of late. They looked okay. I mean, has Sam Laporta looked fantastic to you? Has, the Sun God looked fantastic to you? Has Goff looked fantastic? They're winning. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery they're running the ball all over the place. They're winning, and their defense is doing okay. But then I started to think about it. Are the Bills really going to lose two in a row? You know what I mean? When they know that like this is their last shot of the road through the AFC going to Highmark Stadium, are they really going to lose two in a row? And then I was like, well, the Bills aren't able to practice today. That kind of sucks. All right, now Russell Douglas is out. Ugh, man, that kind of sucks. And Dalton Kincaid is still questionable to doubtful. Man, that kind of sucks. And I'm like, it's just one thing after another for the Bills, right? But I'm still going to take them here. I'm still taking them here. If you're going to give me Josh Allen and 2.5 points in a hostile environment versus anyone besides Kansas City, I'm going to take it. And everything you're saying about the Bills is true. I could see the Bills going to the Super Bowl, and I could see the Bills winning the Super Bowl because here's the deal: they're doing all this, and they're not 100%. They're injured everywhere. Eventually, you're going to have everyone. And when you have everyone, when you're able to run 12 personnel, 13 personnel, when you're able to rotate guys in, Keon Coleman will be back front. Like when you're able to do this, they're going to be dangerous. All of a sudden, DeMar Hamlin is like a thing. He's a
I know.
player. He's a player. He's someone out there that you have to look out for now. Like the only thing in my estimation, there's two things that are stopping the Buffalo Bills from going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. One is Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott single-handedly lost them that game last week versus the Rams. If there's another 5 minutes in that game, the Bills would have found a way to overcome that and win that. And two is Patrick Mahomes. Until someone cuts the head off Patrick Mahomes, the Buffalo Bills aren't going anywhere. They have to go through Patrick Mahomes to win the Super Bowl. It's just that simple. And I think when you look at Goff, a lot of things have to go right for Goff. Goff is great, but a lot of things have to go right for Goff. Whereas the play action's got to work, the pass pro's got to work, Decker's got to level some guys. You know what I mean? Like it all has to kind of work out. With Josh Allen, all he needs is the ball. He just needs the ball. It doesn't matter. Him, Mahomes, there's a couple other guys. They just need the ball. There's no blade of grass that is safe. There's no inch of field that is safe. Indoors, desperate to come off a loss, I'm going to take the Bills. My buddy seems to think that the Bills are going to roll Detroit here. And I'm not so sure that they're not, honestly. Dude, Josh Allen, I have never seen anything like this in my life. The man is a man possessed. And look, Josh Allen's an MVP. I thought it was going to be Saquon, but it's a quarterback-driven award. So let's stop the BS. Josh, after what I witnessed last Sunday is a generational talent performance, whereas literally your coach blew it for you. They could have handed him the MVP if he won that game. And so I think with all those things against them, they still find a way to overcome. And I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5, and I'm taking them with confidence, man. They are ready to mob. They can score at will. And guys like Khalil Shakir, guy on the screen right now, dude, Khalil Shakir is an underrated player in this league. He is very fast. He has good hands, and he's on the right team. Bills point two plus 2.5 is the play.
All right, now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Los Angeles. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a pretty evenly. I mean, their records show it too. I mean, they have about the same record. That sounds about right. They're about 500 teams, but a lot of that about Tampa Bay has been about injuries. I don't really like the Chargers. Lad McConkey is questionable. He's been questionable for like ever, I feel like. I mean, it literally feels like a never-ending questionable tag for him the entire season. Yeah, you know what? I really like Tampa Bay. Anytime I can get a field goal out of Tampa Bay, like I feel pretty good, man. Their offense when it's clicking, it's just on fire. I mean, Baker Mayfield deserves so much credit this year. 28 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, and he's played without two of his best offensive weapons for multiple games this season. Mike Evans is obviously back. Come on, man. There's no way I'm not putting this team on a teaser at some point, and I might make a little double money line bet that the Buccaneers and the Colts win the game outright. I mean, you obviously can get some pretty monstrous money for that. Two underdogs. Not all favorites win, right? obviously. So if you got to pick those games where you think those upsets are going to be, and I would barely call this an upset. What have the Chargers done all year to make you think that they can just go in and blow out the Bucks? I mean, I know they physically could, but their offense stinks so bad. You know the Buccaneers are going to put up points in this game. Lad McConkey's out. The Chargers are out damn near. So give me the Buccaneers plus the field goal.
I'm going to take the Chargers here. I'm going to take the Chargers at home in the afternoon game. I think that the Chargers are going to play very, very hard. The last couple of games that the Chargers have played, they were literally an inch away from winning those games. They were an inch away from beating Kansas City without Lad McConkey. McConkey's questionable to probable. I think he comes back. Justin Herbert is going to be healthy for this game. And the number one scoring defense in the National Football League is the LA Chargers. Now, we all know that Tampa Bay has been surging. They've been playing really well, but Bucky Irving is not 100%. You're flying across the country, I think, with a little bit too much confidence because you think you're just going to roll this team because they can't score. And I'm here to tell you that they're going to do something that you have not seen this year, and that is they're going to score 24 to 27 points. There's going to be a defensive play that's going to be made in this game, and the Chargers are going to find a way not only to win this game, they're going to cover this game. Literally, any shot of the Chargers going to the playoffs rests on this game. It hinges on them winning this game. And Coach Harbaugh has done a fantastic job. I don't know how. I don't know where. They're going to find a way to win this game. When I started looking at this, I was like, there's no way Tampa Bay's not going to cover this game. I thought they might win the game outright. But the buck stops here this week. Believe me when I tell you that they have not faced a defense that plays as hard as this defense in a long time. And they're healthy, man. You know, Derwin James is having a resurgent year. Bosa's on the field. I believe Mack is back. They play very, very hard at home, and they make it very, very difficult for opponents to score. Their red zone defense is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And if Bucky Irving is not 100%, they're going to double Mike Evans, and then they're going to be in trouble. Take the Chargers minus the 3. Take them with a decent amount of confidence. Here's the deal with this one. Everyone's going to be on the Bucks. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to be, guys, what have you got to lose? Everyone's going to be on the Bucks here. Everyone's going to be saying what Spencer said. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and go the other way versus a team that is at home. Them laying points to anyone, yes, it is egregious. I just have a feeling that something happens here this week with them, and they find a way to pull this out when nobody thinks they will.
Next, we have the Steelers going to Philadelphia. Woo! I'm going to go with my gut right off the bat. Okay, George Pickens is out for this game. I don't know where the Steelers find their offense. I think this is going to be a lethal crowd. I think Saquon's going to have a huge game. Now, I know it's a 5.5 point spread, but I could easily see a touchdown. I think this is the Steelers have such an amazing defense, right? And there actually has been moments recently where their offense looks good, but it looks good because George Pickens is that good. They're one of those teams that really just depends on that one player. And I don't like the depth for the Steelers, at least at the wide receiver position. It feels like one of those games where, you know, Jacoby Myers is out for the Raiders early this year, and it's just not the same. You know, like they just depend on that guy to make plays for them. They don't have him making those third down sideline catches. You're in Philly. They're going to get swallowed by that crowd at some point. I just think the Steelers are due for a big time stinker. They're 10-3, but they're not a very confident 10-3. Depends on the week, obviously, but I don't know. I think injuries are just going to be too much in this game. I think Saquon goes off like one of those kind of close to 200-yard games. They'll pass the ball when they need to. You know, they're missing some secondary help there for the Steelers. Yeah, I like the Eagles in this game, and I'll probably throw them on a teaser at some point if I make another one.
Here's the key that they're going to try to get everybody to jump on the Steelers wagon here because Mike Tomlin is the best underdog coach in the history of the NFL. That's what they're going to lead with, okay? And I'm here to tell you guys, don't fall for it. Don't bite on it. The Steelers are due for a big loss, and it happens here this weekend. I know it's 5.5, and I know there's dissension in the locker room. I know there's some problems in Philly. I swear, all these big-time teams, Kansas City, Philadelphia, they're winning, but they got problems. They got problems. This is a good get-right spot for them, and Dude, AJ Brown should eat. Saquon should eat. The crowd's gonna be into it. Gonna be galvanized. I think Russ is in trouble this weekend. 5.5 to me sounds just about right. If you're not gonna have your number one wideout on your team playing because he's out, take the Eagles with a lot of confidence here, man. I think this is a resounding Eagle W. I don't think that the Steelers are as good as everyone thinks they are. They're very opportunistic and they have a great defense. But let anything happen to Watt or Highsmith, and this team would lose every game. They really would, because their defense literally makes plays every week. You can actually, the odds makers plus or deduct points based on the Steeler defense when they make these lines. And this is a bad spot for them, man. It really, really is. Who's gonna step up? You're telling me Pat Fryermuth is gonna move the chains versus Najee Harris? They're gonna stack that box, dude. Pittsburgh's in trouble here, man. Eagles are my best bet, -5.5, and I'm going to take them with confidence. Dude, Philly's a tough place to play, man. I don't know if they're going to be ready for this. Take the Eagles and go to Sizzler.
All right, last game of the afternoon. This is the Sunday Night Football game. It is the Green Bay Packers going to Seattle. Short line in this one. You know what? I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. The Seattle Seahawks, every time you're like, man, they're looking pretty good. You know, this is that time for them to show that they're going above and beyond here.
They
And then
suck.
they just stink, man.
They
This
suck,
team
dude.
does not scare me at home. They have literally like home. I'm not going to say home field means nothing to them, but they have lost some terrible games at home this year. I could see that easily happen. I think the Packers are just straight up a better team than them. Kenneth Walker is doubtful. He's probably not going to play. Now, I know Zach Charbonnet is pretty good, but Kenneth Walker is just a difference maker, man. He's that good. So this is like the Packers are good, man. Like when they're fully healthy and they're getting going. I don't know what the weather's like in this game, so that could be a factor. But even then, if it just comes down to Josh Jacobs versus Zach Charbonnet, I know who I want to take in that matchup. And it's just a field goal. Give me the Green Bay. But the Seattle Seahawks, I feel no confident in big spots with them. Absolutely none.
Yeah, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers. This is one of my favorite bets this week. I mean, look, to me, Geno Smith sucks, man. He sucks. Geno Smith is a backup that's starting. Why they paid this guy, I don't know. He's very average. I mean, this is supposed to be the year under Ryan Grubb where it was just like DK to the moon. You know what I mean? The emergence of JSN. You've seen a little JSN, but like DK has been a monumental letdown for me. I have him every other team. It's not been good. Charbonnet, I like a lot. He's probably my favorite running back in the league, honestly. I like Zach Charbonnet. The kid is an absolute unit. But let's not discount that the Packers play in inclement weather. It's no big deal to them. The 12th man is nothing anymore. They lost there to the Giants. You know, they lost there to the Rams. They lose at home all the time, man. They can't move the ball. You know what I mean? The Packer defense, yes, Jair Alexander's out again in the most overrated cover corner in the history of the league. Fine. But Josh Jacobs has proved he can churn it out. You think Jaden Reed's going to go, throw up another donut this week? No, it's not going to happen. They got him. They got Wicks. They got Christian Watson, who's been playing a lot better. They can stretch the field. You know what I mean? Tucker Kraft is as good as average. Dude, the Packers are a solid team. Guys, the Packers could go to the Super Bowl. We never talk about them in that light. Why not? Seriously. Seriously, man. Like, let's not act like a couple things breaking their way in a playoff game could send them to the big dance. They are good enough to beat any of those teams. They should have beat San Francisco last year. They beat the Chiefs in the building last year. It's not like they don't beat good teams. This is an easy cover for me, man. They got good special teams as well. Give me the Packers -2.5, man. I'm not even going to pontificate anymore about this because Seattle sucks. Seattle is that team that their fans think that they are better than they are. They're very, very mid, especially at home. Next.
All right. Now we have Monday Night Football, a double header.
For no reason.
I don't like how they stack them 30 minutes. If you're going to do two games, start the one game and then have the other one play after. That's how I feel about it, at least. I mean, I know it's kind of cool not to watch commercials essentially when you have both games on, but I don't know. It doesn't really work in my opinion. But we have the Chicago Bears. They are going to Minnesota. Dude, what can you say about Sam Darnold? Do you think I think it's funny, at least, that they're like, Sam Darnold's gone next year. Is he? Is he really gone next year? He's on going on
I'd
to his
I'd,
next
I'd,
project.
I'd give him a contract.
I know you drafted JJ McCarthy, but you got to be so damn sure that this
Uh,
guy is just going to be like plug and play, because
no,
Sam Darnold's made some great throws.
no,
He
Minnesota's
really,
ready.
really has.
They're ready to win now, man. I would give Sam Darnold a contract. He's earned it, guys. He's earned it. Jay Jettas, Hawkinson, Addison, AJ, Ty Chan, dude, they're ready to win now. Go get more defense. Give Sam Darnold a contract, and then pull and pray. I'd sign him right now. Don't be like these other franchises that have missed out on this guy. You have him. Keep him. Keep him.
Sam Darnold, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the season. That's pretty sick, man. You're talking about a near 3-1 touchdown to pick ratio. But you know what? I have a strange feeling that the Bears are going to cover in this game.
Me too.
I don't know why. It's one of those matchups where it's like, dude, the Vikings are so much better. And they are. The Vikings are so much better than the Bears. But that Bears defense sometimes just does enough. You know, the Bears offense hasn't done anything in a good while. Caleb Williams is terrible. I mean, he does have a 16 touchdown to 5 interception ratio. It's just like such a low touchdown count, right? Like you like the ratio there, but it's just like he'll go into halftime with like 50 yards passing so much. And there really is no reason to take the Bears. It's just, that's just how the National Football League goes for me. It's Monday Night Football. The whole world is going to be on the Vikings. And it's like, you know, DeAndre Swift maybe breaks a run or something, you know, just like something strange is going to happen in this game. Maybe an interception by the Bears. They're just like playing really good defense in this game. I don't expect them to win, obviously, but just some weird backdoor cover kind of situation for me here.
I'm taking the Bears too. This is a division game. They played as good as they could play last week in Minnesota. Here comes the letdown. Here it comes. Oh my God, they're supposed to blow Chicago out. I don't think so. Chicago's defense is good, and they're going to play hard under the lights. Guys, Caleb Williams, as a rookie, has not thrown an interception in 7 games. He doesn't turn the ball over. And let's not act like he hasn't been surrounded by the biggest dookie storm that you could possibly be surrounded by as a rookie. The guy's actually played quite well. Go look at the numbers. It's coaching that has failed Caleb Williams. Period. Point blank. End of statement. I think they play hard in this game, and I think they play well in this game, and I think they're going to cover the 7. I do. Don't ask me why. Because the only problem with the Bears is the coaching. Coaching in the line. Run some 12, 13 personnel, put that extra blocker in there, run the ball, see what happens. If I'm Caleb Williams, man, I'm trying to turn this into a one-man show. I want to see more of that USC Caleb Williams. Run the ball. Son, you're not getting the help you need this year. Don't get yourself hurt, but let's see what you can do. I think they're trying to turn you into something that you're not. It's like trying to turn Mahomes into a pocket pass. Guys, he's not that. Stop. Mahomes is taking off 2 seconds after the ball is snapped. That's just what it's just what it is. If the offensive line is crap, the offensive line is crap. And it's not going to become a steak dinner. Not this year. And so I think if he takes off a little bit more, scrambles a little bit more, they keep another guy in the block a little bit more, I think the Bears are going to cover this. I really do. And I like them a lot. Bears plus 7's the play.
Last game of the week, the Las Vegas Raiders are at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Wow, the Atlanta Falcons have played terrible recently. I mean, they're
horrible. Kirk Cousins should be benched. Kirk Cousins should be on the bench.
They should, actually.
Dude, Kirk Cousins belongs on the bench. I said it with my chest.
The Falcons, I'm going to take them. I think they just score enough points, and the Raiders just have no reason to win. Very weird season for them. I mean, the turnover differential is like the deciding factor for them this year. Their defense, man. Patrick Graham, the one thing I hope that no matter what happens next year, that he stays the defensive coordinator. The best defensive coordinators the Raiders have had in my lifetime. I mean, the guy they sign, Chase on off the street. This guy looks like Khalil Mack right now. I mean, it's crazy. Interceptions and sacks. You came off from nowhere. He gets the most out of his players. I would give Patrick Graham, if they could find the right offense coordinator, I would give Patrick Graham the head coaching job so fast. This guy is going to be a head coach at some point in his career. He's too good. He's too good. Now, obviously, he has to have a good offensive coordinator, but man, this guy knows how to call a defense, and the guys love him. He's just got that. He's got an awesome demeanor to him. He's like this calm, kind of sleeping giant. Puts together a hell of a game plan. I mean, come on, your defense gets an incredible interception, and then you fumble the snap the next play. I mean, that's just what the Raiders have done this year. There are so many losses that could become wins, and you know what? It's been the quarterback play. They don't have a quarterback. I would even say our offensive coordinator has been okay. Turner, with his dad, the two minds together, it's been all right. You know what I mean? You just got bad interceptions, bad fumbles, man. I mean, if they just had a half decent quarterback this year, what would their record be? I mean, their quarterbacks have lost them so many games. And right now they have the first overall pick. Kind of unbelievable. I mean, it's actually really unbelievable. The thought that the Raiders could have a franchise quarterback, man, I've been waiting so long. Going back to Jamarcus Russell. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I'm like 99% sure, but the Raiders have no fault of drafting Jamarcus Russell. It's not like they missed out on Eli Manning. There were no quarterbacks in that draft. Literally, the next one was taken like pick 18. So I don't know why. Like, I guess like he technically is like one of the biggest draft busts. But I think of draft busts more relatively to like who else was there. Oh, they missed out on this guy. Like, oh, they moved up to get Mitchell Trubisky when there wasn't like that. The Raiders, though, if they can continue this path, man, I really think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a really great NFL quarterback. He's a pocket passer, never looks to just run. I mean, he just has that kind of, it reminds me almost of Jared Goff, but he has that extra level of athleticism to like keep it going. Dude, if he goes to the Raiders, it's going to be a storm. There's so much talent on this Raiders team. I mean, it's all over the field. They are just missing this commander, and they have for 20 years since Rich Gannon. Derek Carr was like good for a couple years, but I'm talking about a franchise quarterback, a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers went for most of his career. They've never had that. Even Rich Gannon was at the end of his career when he came to the Raiders. Literally in franchise history, they've never had their guy. And for the first time in decades, they're right there. If they can just get this quarterback, so many of these these losses are going to convert to wins. I don't know, man. I'm just this is the most excited I've been of those bottom tier teams, that are drafting at the top. The Raiders, the Giants, the Patriots, the Panthers, the Jags, the Titans, even. The Raiders have better team situations than all of them, and it's not even that close. They are just a couple pieces away. They got to figure out the head coach position. It's been hard because Antonio Pierce has not lost the locker room. That's just a fact, right? When you go up to the podium after endless losses, you're never going to say anything satisfactory, right? You're going to get buried by the fans and everything. There's nothing. But the players, we've seen so many years of these endless amounts of coaches for the Raiders where they're just like done, right? They're not playing anymore. They don't care about the guy. They're like, who's going to be a next? They're not doing that for Antonio Pierce. He's kind of just hanging in there. It's just a shame. It's at the wrong time, I think, in his career, where it's like Dan Campbell was cooking in the oven for a long time. And they also had, by the way, like a 2-win team when he first started. So I don't know. It's like, I just don't know if he can bring in the staff that's necessary. He just doesn't have that, expertise. It's like he needed to grow his way up in the coaching tree to being like a defensive coordinator for like 5-10 years. You know what I mean? And then like, because the guys love him. They all want to play hard for him. He just doesn't put them in the position to win. And obviously, like I said, the quarterback position is the number one reason why they've lost this year. He can't do anything about that too. So it's so hard for me to evaluate this Raiders team because I need to see what he could look like with the quarterback. But then obviously at the same time, that's a huge risk because you don't want to have a bad quarterback, rookie coach kind of situation. You know what I mean? So it's so hard to evaluate. It's like you got to bring in a guy like Ben Johnson, right? You let him choose Shedeur Sanders, and then you just start winning games, But it's like it's hard to just throw Antonio Pierce to the side because it feels like he's so close, but it's just such a big risk. And this is the biggest offseason in Raiders history, in my opinion. So I think they're going to lose this game. To go back to this one, I just have a lot to say about the Raiders. I think they lose this game. You know, the Falcons are due for one. The Raiders are due for absolutely nothing. They're getting ready for next year.
I'm going to take the Raiders here. The Falcons have been so bad, man. Kirk Cousins has been unmitigated disaster. I mean, I don't think he's thrown a touchdown in almost a month. You know, this game, the Raiders don't get very many Monday night games under the lights in Las Vegas. Just that alone, I think they're going to play hard. There's been rumors coming out of them, potentially moving on from, Antonio Pierce. And those guys love AP, man. They're going to play hard. They're going to try to win the game. I mean, I know what they're trying to do as well. They're going to try to do both. And even if they lose, man, I can't see them losing by more than 4.5. The Falcons have been horrendous. They've been so bad. I mean, what have the Falcons done in a month? They're wasting Bijan Robinson. They're wasting Drake London. They refuse to put Michael Penix on the field when Kirk Cousins is clearly washed. Clearly. I mean, he has been an unmitigated disaster. And the strength of the Raiders football team is their defense. Man, Raiders money line. And I hear what you're saying as a Raider fan. You want to lose, but there's also this thing called pride. There's also this thing for wanting to play hard for your coach. You know what I mean? There's also this thing called Brandon Graham and that sick defense that is underachieved only because of injury. The Raiders are going to be a top unit in this league. I'm telling you. I've been saying this for a while. I'm standing on this. I'm standing on this just the same way I stood on Detroit when they had 4 wins and y'all laughed at me then. Now they're on their way to potentially going to the Super Bowl. Guys, you have to be able to see into the future. And it's about getting the right guy in there. It's about getting the right coaches in there. They're not far off. Dude, the Raiders are not far off. Yes, they're bad. They're losing for a reason. But styles make fights, and this is situational football. Under the lights on a Monday night, they will not lay down. I'm sorry. Ain't no Falcon fans flying to Las Vegas to see this game. This is going to be Raider Nation on Monday night. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Raiders with confidence here. Kirk Cousins is done. He's washed. He is an absolute bum. Kirk Thuggins is dead. It's over. It's done. The only way Atlanta wins this game and covers is if they put a young, hungry, healthy Michael Penix back there. That's the only way it's going to happen. The Raiders are going to play hard as hell on Monday, guys. I'm telling you right now, you're crazy if you think they're just going to go in there and be like, yeah, we're already thinking about Shador Sanders. Guys, there's no guarantee you get Shador Sanders. The Giants might get him. Dude, this race is not over yet. There's plenty of season left. Okay, so if you're telling me that the Raiders are going to be a live tank Monday because you're a Raider fan, fine. But I see something different happening. I see Sincere McCormick fighting for his life, fighting for his career. I see Sincere McCormick being this year's Zamir White. I see it happening. And I think that the Raiders plus 4.5 is such a good bet here, man. The Atlanta Falcons have choked their season away. They've been the most disappointing team in the National Football League this year. For what they went out and did in the offseason, for them to be this horrendous, they're not even a 500 football team. Stop. I'm taking the Raiders plus 4.5. I'm taking it. Let me win any kind of money on Sunday, man. Listen, I'm honorary Raider Nation Monday night. Let's go.
All right, this is my best bet. Kansas City plus 3. The Washington Commanders just need to win their game. And then the Cincinnati Bengals -2 against the Titans. I like these really close lines. I'm getting a field goal for Kansas City. They lose that game, man, by more than a touchdown.
Harrison Butker is back. Harrison Butker's back. I just saw that. They released Matthew Wright, so Harrison Butker's off IR. He will be kicking. That could swing some things. I like that plus 3. The one that scares me is the Bengals -2 in the rain. I'm worried about that, dude. I'm telling you, man. I get a bad feeling about that game. I may just stay off that game completely. Weather matters. Coaching matters. Intangibles matter, dude. It matters, man. If the ball is wet and you can't throw it or catch it, how you gonna score? World of Matches bringing the heat. This is week 15, coming to you guys live and direct. Thanks for the likes, the subs, thanks for the shares and all that. We appreciate you guys loving the show the way you have, and we will continue doing what we're doing from now through the playoffs, through the off season, because that's what we do. every Saturday morning. Show should be out about 1 p.m. on YouTube. You guys enjoy the game. Spencer, it's always a pleasure, my guy. Talk to you during the
Yep.
week. All right, you
See you
guys
next
take
week.
care. We're out. Peace.